Well, by initiating our process of automating functional testing, first thing to be done from now on is to choose the tool that we will use to generate our test script. And we choose the Selenium IDE. The Selenium IDE, as previously reported, is an extension of Firefox where you will be able to record your actions in some application web, be it a site, be it a system, anyway. And these actions will be captured in a script form, and that can be played as many times as you want. Remembering that the Selenium IDE is currently in version 3, but this version has removed many interesting features, including export functionality of the scripts. So, unfortunately, it is a version that is very limited, and so I recommend you use the last version that had all the functionalities, that is the 291, and that is compatible with the versions Firefox 54 or lower. So, accessing the internet here, if you search for Selenium IDE, you will get access here to the Firefox extension add-ons website. However, the version was already considered obsolete and was removed from the site. Then you will not be able to download this version of Selenium IDE here from the Firefox extension website. The extension is already in the 3.5.8 version, and you may have access to previous versions as long as it is from version 3 onwards. The older version is 3.0.2.0. So the best thing to do is you try to get the extension by the n-axis of the cursor. In this class you will be able to access this version of Selenium in the attachments, right? But the other alternative, would you search it on another site? For example, here on the site A9T9. Here on the site A9T9. You have access to the download of this version that is exactly this one. By clicking on this link here, you can download the extension, okay? But if you don't get around here, just go into class attachments, you will have access to. Alright? And Firefox, you can very well get it on the official Mozilla website by accessing the version history. You click here, all Brazilian versions of Firefox. Remember that it is already in version 66.0, and the accessing history, you have here all versions. This Selenium IDE is compatible with version 54 or lower. If If you use the version 55 or higher, this extension is no longer compatible. Only version 3 of the Selenium IDE. Then you will download here one of these versions. I strongly recommend the version 53. Then you click here. If it is Windows, click here. If your operating system is Linux, click here. And so are the other operating systems. After downloading, you will simply open your Firefox. Here in mine, the Selenium IDE is already installed, but let's say it was the first time. You will come here in Options, Extensions, and by clicking on the gear, you will choose to install from a file and you will simply search the extension .xpi file you just downloaded from the Selenium IDE. You will select it and click Open. Then just reboot Firefox and open it again. The Selenium IDE will already be available here on the toolbar. If you are not, you can also come in more options and click Customize. And you will find the icon of Selenium IDE here, where you will be able to move it to the bookmarks bar or to the toolbar. Once you download the Selenium IDE, you will open it and you will see that window here. Where I am going to show what the main parts of it mean. Here, where number 1 is, as you can see, here would be the toolbar. Just like the browser has its toolbar, this window for the Selenium IDE chat here also has this toolbar, where you can define on here the base URL, which is the URL of the system you are going to test. Speed control of the tests. When you go run, you will determine whether you want a very fast, reasonable or very slow execution. And also you will be able to just maximize here. Ready. The image is not great, but what you can see here for a while those other buttons. Here are you for you to be able to run the tests, where the first one is to perform all the tests. This one for you to run one by one, without counting the other buttons that are not enabled by having no test case here. What would you pause the test, or you put a breakpoint and etc. Well, the second part here of the screen would be the list of your test cases. Here you will define all the scenarios, and the set of test cases here is what makes up your suite of tests, where you will get access to information on how many have passed and how many have failed. Third, we have here the space where we will go interact with our script, i.e., it is here that the captured script will be displayed and can be modified. And lastly, we have the fourth part of the screen, that is our footer. Here would be the execution information, the log, where you can also access a small documentation, the Selenium IDE. Know what is each command, Thanks again for your attention, and until then. What parameters it requests and among other options. Okay? Thanks again for your attention, and until then. Well, so in the next lesson, we will show you how to build our first test script using the record option. Okay? Thanks again for your attention, and until then.